So it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the iPhone 7 and see how it holds up in the later part of 2022. Now, what's super crazy about this phone, in my opinion, was how impactful this iPhone was when it first came out. But this is a late 2022 review. Well, you guys already know everything about this phone, but there have been a ton of changes since even my mid-year review of this thing. Now, what was crazy was when this phone first came out, a few years ago, back in 2016, it was actually a fairly impactful iPhone, for better or for worse. For one, Apple ended up bringing in no headphone jack on this phone, which I found very interesting. That was something I wasn't expecting them to do. They ended up doing it, and since then, no other iPhone has pretty much had a headphone jack. On top of that, we've had things like the capacitive home button, so it was no longer a actual button that you click in, and that actually might end up making a comeback now, because it looks like Apple's going to be doing that same thing potentially for the iPhone 15 home buttons. So there's a little bit of remnants of the iPhone 7 in some other newer iPhones, which is actually fairly interesting. But the biggest changes, and this is what's super crazy from my experience, the iPhone 7 got discontinued with software this year. For a phone like this, I feel like could have easily been supported. Also considering the fact that the iPhone, there's been so many iPads that have the same chipset as this iPhone that got support with iPadOS 16, but didn't get support, like the iPhone 7 didn't get support. It makes no sense at all. I have no idea what Apple was doing in that situation, and I genuinely do think they could have done a way better job in that specific situation. So in this specific situation, I will probably say that the iPhone 7 could have easily gotten iOS 16, and it kind of has a sad lifespan now, but it is what it is. There's not really a whole lot we can do as of this point, but that is something that hopefully Apple can, not do with the next generation of iPhones. Hopefully they make them last longer. The iPhone 7, and I did compare it against the iPhone 14, which is actually very interesting because 14 is twice the number of 7. So this is twice the iPhone, I guess, and it really is twice the iPhone if I'm being honest. You were getting a way better phone on the iPhone 14, and I will say with the iPhone 7, it's definitely a good iPhone. It's not a bad iPhone anymore. It's just sad that it got discontinued with software. Last year, this thing kind of was still it wasn't a decent buy, but it, made sense. If you wanted to go ahead and buy it, then, by all means go for it. But you were getting an overall cheaper phone, and it probably wasn't going to last as long as many people were expecting, so that was another thing. But when I compare this thing against the iPhone, 14, there are massive differences. But also, this was the last year we got kind of the main flagship of the two models, the 7 and 7 Plus. After this point, we pretty much have gotten 3 or more iPhones every single generation, which was actually very interesting in my opinion. So this is another classic case that if you were, planning on buying an iPhone like an iPhone 7 right now, I would probably recommend not doing that at all. I don't think that would be a smart decision. I think going up to something like an iPhone 10 or an iPhone XS or XR would be a much better option for pretty much every single person watching this. I think the iPhone 7 was very impactful when it first came out, but I do think as of this point, like I said, it just makes very little sense to go and pick up an iPhone like this, especially when you have other iPhones like the iPhone, 10 that you can buy for pretty much $150 now that are exponentially better than this iPhone. So in terms of that kind of covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.